Hi guys. Okay, so I had promised you on the podcast a little while ago that I would show you how I change colors when I knit self-striping socks. So obviously the stripe part of the sock is knit from one ball that is self-striping, so it changes colors automatically. But for the toe, I use a contrasting color, which in this case is the same color of peach that is in the yarn itself, but I do use a separate little ball. So I had said I weave in the ends for the contrasting yarn and the old yarn as I knit along, just to make it easier so that I don't have as many ends to weave in at the end. This is also the same technique that I use when I'm knitting a shawl when I have to change colors. So here we go. I'm going to show you how I do this. So first I gotta get my yarn situated here. So I start by tensioning both yarns over my finger like I would for color work. Like so. And I try to have the new color that I will be working with on this side and the old yarn on this side. And then all I do is I keep knitting, but I take the working yarn above the old yarn and then below the old yarn. I do this for about 6 or 8 stitches, and I keep a nice even tension. And this usually ensures that the tail, which is the gray yarn in this case, will be woven in really nice and snug, and it won't go anywhere. Even in a fabric like this, like a sock, where there'll be a lot of movement, it pretty much stays put. So there we go. I can now drop the gray yarn, and if we flip it over here, you can tell that that gray edge is really nicely woven in, and it doesn't really, it's not the best example here because I finished with the gray as well, but it doesn't really usually pop through on the front. So now I'm going to continue knitting around, and then when I get to this spot here where I'll be weaving in the peach end, I will come back and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so we're back. So as you can see here, I'm just about a few stitches away from where we changed the color originally, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. So this here is the peach end that we're going to weave in. I would suggest leaving a little bit of a longer end. It does give you a little bit more work room, but you sort of put it in between the two tips. And if you can, put your finger in through it. That's where the longer end would come in handy. But you just keep going the way that you were before. Knit one under, knit one over. You keep going, weaving in the end as you go. And the last one is over. There we go. So now you can see there's a little bit of a loop there, which is fine. You just take the other end here and you pull it tight. Just kind of make that really snug. And you do the same thing with the gray end, so that first stitch here isn't too loose. And then you keep knitting your toe like you normally would. So this end here, it is woven in, so on the next round I'll just pass that back over to the back side so you can't see it, and I'll keep knitting my toe decreases, and then all I have left to do when I'm done knitting my sock is I weave in the end for the Kitchener, and then any remaining ends that I have left on the cuff. But these ends here, like you can tell right there, are woven in really nicely. And here's the gray side there. So I hope that helps. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions about this technique, or if there's anything that I should expand on. Like I said, it does also work beautifully for shawls that use multiple colors, colored sections. So I will be using this technique in my Tamdhu shawl because would be an awful lot of ends to weave in otherwise. Okay, have a nice day.